It's like that intense music, and then it starts dun 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 dun.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to the Focus 425 webinar on asking questions. So, before we start with the introductions, I just want to remind everybody that during this current period, with the schools being closed, we are running these webinars every day from, is it 9 a.m. till 9 p.m.?
Yeah, I think so.
Carl?
Mondays until Friday, it's nine till nine, and then on Saturday it might be a little bit different. Although I'm not sure. You can check your social media for that.
Yes, and also these are being recorded, so even if you are someone watching later, you can research for this video and play it as many times as you need in order to remember what you have to. Hello. Also, for anyone watching, please introduce yourself in the comments and be as interactive as you like, because it's better for us. Carl, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. So hi guys. My name is Cathal, and I'm from Ireland. I am a teacher in Milano Meravigli, and I've been teaching in Meravigli for over 1 year. So that's me.
Very nice. Yes, and I am Jadine. I'm from London, and I'm very new to Milan, actually. I
Mm,
only arrived in yes. And I'm also a new teacher at MISE, but I am also based in Milan and in Meravigli. So
mhm.
see, today's webinar is on asking questions. So to kick it off, Carl, would you like me?
Yeah, of course. Asking questions. In this focus activity, question words, asking questions, and to learn the quasi trick.
Yes, the quasi trick is actually new to me, so we can learn together. And for anyone who's just joined the webinar, welcome. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the comments and ask any questions if you have them throughout the webinar. Okay, so to start, we have a selection of questions which are in the wrong order. So it says, out of order, please put the words in the correct order. Carl, how are you going to do this?
Well, I guess we'll do this together. So you take one, I'll take one.
Okay. Hey, Robert.
Ah,
Welcome. Would you like to help us?
I don't know why I'm
Nice.
so awesome. But I mean, we learn from the best. We learn from you, Rob. We learn from you.
I'm going to take it. If you say that we're awesome, I accept that. I
Mhm.
know. I know what we are. Okay. So, Robert, Carl, I need both of you to help me. The first sentence, number one, we have the words books, kind, what, like, you, of, and do. So, how can we this question even?
Okay, so we need to put this in the correct order. So quote number one is, what kind of books do you like?
Perfect. So, always starting with the question word. Carl, what kind of books do you like?
Ooh, good question. I like lots of different types of books, mainly fantasy books, or like kind of sci-fi books, maybe even thriller. I like to watch.
Really?
all of
What happens in a thriller book?
So a thriller, as like a genre, like a type of book, it's kind of, so it can be a thriller movie, a book, or a TV series. It's generally a kind of exciting um, uh, book or topic where you
Would you
are.
say it was? Sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
So yeah, no, it's
I was going to say, would you
exciting
say that
or
it's scary?
yeah, exciting or scary. Sure, yeah.
Interesting. And remember, for anyone watching, feel free to put these questions in the correct order or answer them. You have the option. Okay, for question number 2, we have the words admire, who, you, family, your, do, and in. How do we put this sentence in the correct order? And we can use the example from number 1 to help guide us. So the first question starts. So the second question with, what do you think?
It would, of course, have to be who.
Carl? Yes, okay, so I think there's quite a delay between us, but that's fine. So, okay, the entire correct question is, who do you admire in your family? So, my glamorous assistant, Carl, who do you admire in your family?
I admire a lot of people in my family. Most of all,
Ah,
I think I admire my dad, my father, because
okay.
he's
Why?
worked very hard over his career and has accomplished a lot in his field.
I see. I see. Like you. Like
Ah,
you.
I mean, maybe not,
Oh
not
yeah.
quite.
Okay. Not yet, but there's hope. There's time to come.
It's so
Um,
time.
yes, okay, so question number 3 only has 4 words. So do,
Mm.
work, when, and they. And Claudia, so thank you for contributing. Is of course,
Nice.
when do they work? Yes. So, Carl, speaking again about your family, you said you're very hard. Did he work?
Mhm.
Or when does he work?
Uh, so he works all the time, obviously, except for the weekends. So he works from Monday to Friday, and he works from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. About that.
Okay. So, and this can be for everybody watching. What do you notice about the question, do they work? And the question I asked to Carl, when does he work? Notice a difference? What do you think, Carl? Did you pick up on anything? Did you see anything or hear anything different?
But yes, absolutely. Does is used for the third person.
Yes, exactly. So he, she, or it, the question would be, when does he, she, or it work? Okay. Question number 4. We have words like his, does, where, he, and do. And Claudia, yes. Where does he do his homework? Although it's out the word his, grammatically, your question makes perfect sense. We can assume or guess that the homework belongs to him, so you don't have to say it. Good. Okay, so question number 5. Okay, great correction. Question 5. You turn on the how do he. Carl, is there anything special we could say about the words turn on together?
So turn on is what we call a phrasal verb in English. So turn on is a phrasal verb, and a phrasal verb is a type of grammar that uses both a verb and a preposition together to create a different meaning. So turn, which is the verb by itself, has a different meaning to turn on. Because if you think about turn, is just like to move around something, right? To turn on is to, like, for example, to turn on a television, or to turn on the oven, to turn on the computer. It's like to start something, usually associated with technology or an application.
Yes, and it's also, I think, the same for the opposite, which is turn off, which we use in the opposite meaning. So you can turn on something or you can turn it off.
Exactly.
Perfect. So how can we send a question in the correct order? We do.
That's a good. Could say, how
I'm looking at you, Claudia.
Turn on the TV?
Perfect. How do you turn on the TV? And thinking about the third person, so he or she, change this.
Change it to does.
So how does he turn on the TV? So finally, in our last question, we have the words study, why, we, do, and English. This is possibly the most relevant question, I think. So how can we put this in the correct order?
Of course, why do we study English?
Exactly. Why do we study? And also, if you're still watching, tell us, why do you study English? You're not sure.
One thing, Jadine, I have a question about number 5. So in question 5, are we asking directly to a person, how do you turn on the TV? Or is this like, because I think that it is the same way to turn on the TV for everyone, no?
Yes, it's true. So sometimes when we ask, it can be either. So this could be a direct question to a person who is with you or the person you are speaking to. How do you turn on the TV? Or it can be a question to what we call the general you, which is everybody. And in this example, there is not exactly one person to share with us how they personally turn on the TV, but we want to know how a TV is turned on by anybody.
Okay.
So we
Thank you.
use you as the subject for that. Fine, it was a good question. Good question. Okay, so, okay. So can you name the question words in these 6 examples?
The question words.
The question words.
Is this we are looking for what?
Exactly what? And in the
Who?
second question, exactly. And in the third question,
When?
we have what? Yes, when. The fourth,
Where?
exactly. The fifth,
How?
and finally the sixth.
Why?
Perfect. And as you can see in all of these questions, we always with the question word. But what do these question words mean exactly? So we use these question words. Why? Why do we use them, Carl?
Well, if we want to ask for something more specific, or we want to give the person that we're talking to more of an idea of what we're looking for, we use specific question words.
So do you mean that the question words each have a different meaning?
Yeah, they each have a different use. They're used for something different.
Okay, so in this instance then, what is who used for? If I start a question with who, what is it that I want to know about?
Who is for people.
Exactly. So if we ask a question beginning with the word who, it's to know which people are doing or seeing, etc., something. However the question, whatever the main verb in your question is, how that relates to the people. So what about what? What is what used for?
Well, what is used in general for information?
About things. So yes, generally we use what if we want information about things. Can we use what if we want information about people?
Yes, but we need to use it more specifically. We say what person or what people, but we don't need to use that because we have who.
Okay, perfect. Good. So we have who when we want to ask about people. We have what when we want to ask for information about things. And where?
Where is used for the location of something.
Okay. Exactly. So of a place or a situation. What do you mean the location of a situation? What is
So
the
this
difference
can
between
a place can be anywhere like a city or like a town, a country. A situation can be like where do you ask for coffee in a coffee shop? So the situation would be you're
perfect.
asking where.
Again, in that example that you just gave, when you ask for coffee, were you asking me personally, or was it a general question?
It's more of like, oh sorry. So for where do you ask for coffee is just a general question.
Okay, but still using the subject you.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Or when we use for?
When is for time.
Excellent. So if we want to find out information about the time something or will be at a place, we use the question word
Mhm.
why. And this is a word that I have already used many times in this webinar. We use the word why.
Why is for when you're looking for the reason of something.
Fantastic. So when we want to understand the reason something done or something will be done or something is being done, question word why. What about which? What do we use this for?
Mm. Which is an interesting one because which is used whenever we are faced with so whenever of two different things, we'll say which do you want? It's for a choice.
Mm. Yes, I've personally noticed during my time in Italy that Italian people will often use words what and differently.
Mm.
For example, if asking about somebody's address, which and there are there is only a certain number of addresses. However, because in English we don't have a clear choice between two things, asking, for example, for somebody's address and that information is unknown, we use what because we're seeking information about this unknown thing, a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And also, I think the same for things like a phone number. If it's something I don't know and I want information on it, the question word what. But if I'm given of or a list of 2 or 3 or more phone numbers, I might say which phone number is yours.
Exactly.
How? And this one I always
Mm.
think is quite interesting myself. How we
So
use for.
how is for the condition, the way, the kind of the manner in which something is done.
Yes. Okay. So I would go for the manner of something is done or the way something is done. For example,
Mhm.
how do you get to work? What is the way you get to work. Yeah. And finally, we have how often. So this is our question word, and you must always use how often together if you want to use it for
The frequency.
exactly. And frequency just means the number of times something is done within a time period. So, for example, how often do you get the bus to work in a week? Or in so here we have some learning for me. So the quasi trick. Follow the trick to word order of questions. So Carl, how do we form a question using this easy trick?
So the quasi trick is a way to remember how to write or how to ask a question in the present simple or in the past simple. So question word,
Okay.
which is who, what,
Which
where,
we just
what we just did. We have the
exactly.
auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb for present simple and past simple questions is do. The subject is
Yes.
you, he, she, we, whatever. And the infinitive is the form of the verb.
Yes. So the main verb we want about. Don't forget, if we are speaking in the present tense using an affirmative sentence, it's the main verb which we conjugate to the subject. However, when we ask a question, the main verb is always the same, it's the infinitive, and the auxiliary verb do conjugates with the third person or everybody else.
Mhm.
So here is an example, a present simple tense, and we can see that it's been color coded to match the different parts of the quasi trick. So I like a color coordination. This makes me very happy. Okay. The first part we have the question example, Carl, is
Why?
the auxiliary verb, which is
Do.
yes, it's with who is,
We.
and finally the infinitive verb.
Study.
Exactly. And English and quasi trick is, of course, to give us more information so somebody can answer this question. We could ask, why do we study? Of course, we don't want to know why we study. In general, understand why we study English. Is another example that's been conjugated using the third person singular. So, Carl, our question word.
When.
Thank you. The auxiliary verb.
Does.
Yes, so different in these two examples because in this case conjugates to our subject, which is
The movie.
yes, and finally the infinitive or the main verb.
Start.
Great. And for everybody watching at home, like I said, if you are somebody who has tuned in to this webinar at a later time point than when we filmed it, and you're watching at home, then please feel free to practice writing questions in the present or past simple tenses using this quasi trick. And here are some prompts, verb prompts that you can use if you don't have any ideas at the moment. And for now, Carl and I will come up with our own questions, verbs. So I think, Carl, we should try to make 6 questions using 6 different question words as well.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm down.
it's a
I'm
challenge.
ready.
Okay, and different subjects. I'm going to make it
Oh,
harder.
God.
You seem too confident. I want
Oh, I'm
different
nervous now.
subjects. I want a different a different question word. But I'm
Okay.
nice. I will let you start.
Oh, how generous. How generous. Okay. Let's
You're
see.
welcome.
Let's start with how often do you eat pizza?
Oh, how often do I eat pizza? So again, follow word, auxiliary, subjective. I actually eat pizza very often, although I'm not sure if you were hoping for a reply. But yes, well done. Okay, so when does he sleep at night?
When? I don't know. He sleeps at. I guess you could say he goes to sleep at 8 p.m.
You could. This is a good point. So, actually, as I was asking the question, when does he sleep at night? It sounds strange because sleep is something that happens over a period of time. But really, I'm asking up. So, when we're talking about sleep, when we talk about the time somebody starts to sleep or somebody goes into their bed and gets ready to sleep, we would always say someone is going or has gone to sleep or to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
All right, my turn. My
exactly.
turn. Where do we work?
Ooh, that is
Oh,
a
yeah.
really good question. I can answer because I know that we both work at Via Mirabili in Milan.
Nice.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to say, what did they study at university?
What did they study? They studied mathematics at university.
Oh, did they? Oh, did
Well,
they?
I think so.
Possibly. Someone did. Anyway. Okay. So we have used how often, what, when, and where.
Okay. God, we're running out of options here. Which drink does she want?
Whoa, did you just go off
Oh hell
Did
yeah!
you make up
I'm
your own question? Okay. Okay. I'm going to say you get some points for that. Which drink does she want? Okay. So I'm assuming then she has a selection of drinks that she can choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So she has options. Okay. Okay, good question. Which, where, how? Oh, okay. Why did I? Why did I leave the party?
Why did I leave the party? This is an interesting one because generally we don't ask ourselves like like questions like this. Why did I leave the party? Is you're kind of asking it like retrospectively, I guess. Why did I
Exactly.
leave the party?
Exactly. I guess it could either be that I'm being reflective. Why? Why did I do that? Or it could be that I'm asking somebody else to tell me. For example, Carl, why did I use this question word?
Oh my god, I understand now. Yes. Why did I leave it?
Yes.
So,
Yes. So that question
okay.
could be for me to answer or for somebody else, depending on the context. We didn't use the prompts play and go on who will watch or is watching this webinar. Now you have two main verb examples that you can practice with, and we haven't given away any spoilers.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
also quite
So,
important
Carl.
to note
Oh,
that with
mhm.
with questions such as this, whenever we use the quasi trick, we're using the quasi trick. Obviously, the question begins with a question word. So when we use the quasi trick, it,
Yes.
it's called what we say in English as an open question. So an open,
Okay. So what is the difference? Okay. What is the
yeah,
difference
is
and a closed question?
the open question is asking for information. Okay, it can be anything at
Okay.
all for people, the reason, the manner, the frequency. Whereas a closed question is simply asking for a yes or no answer. Because a closed question,
Okay.
right? A closed question is uses the same structure as quasi, except we remove the question word. So instead of quasi, a closed question is asi, because a closed question is
Okay.
something like, do you speak Italian? Does he work
Okay.
for EY? Do
Okay.
they
So,
work in Milan?
for example, I could say, Carl, do you like to dance?
And my answer is, of course, yes.
Okay. So, if I then wanted to open the question and find out more information, I could say, where do you like to dance?
I like to dance in my apartment.
Okay. Or how often do you like to dance?
Every night.
Okay. Okay. And when do you like to dance at
Uh,
night?
oh my God. When at like 10 p.m. because no one is around.
So now I know what time to come round to your apartment when I'm ready to watch the spectacular show.
It's a crazy show is what it is.
Okay, excited. For the next slide, Carl, do you mind the information.
So a person, place, or thing. Let's make questions with singular nouns. For example, when movie start? When does the movie start?
Okay, so using singular nouns, so the movie. The next example, where your teacher and live. So we have the question word for quasi.
Mhm.
We have the subject, your teacher, which in this case is a singular noun because there is one teacher, and the main verb, live. So we are missing the auxiliary, and we've spoken about this before with the third person singular. The auxiliary in this question is does.
Or does.
Where does your teacher live? Yes. What about for how often John speak on the phone? What's
So
missing?
again, John is like he, so we know that it's a third
Yeah.
person, and so the auxiliary verb again is
Yes.
going to be does.
Exactly. Maybe. Okay. So then, looking at the third question, what music Anne like? Similar to John, Anne is third person, although she is a female. So she, well, I assume she is a female, use the auxiliary verb does because we are talking about he or she. What about for the fourth question? Do we use do or does about a race? Something that's not a person.
So the race is a thing, so it is it, and so we say where does the race finish?
And the same as well for our final question, which where the subject is rain. Why does it rain? Perfect. Do you know the answer to this question? Why does
Why
it rain in the spring? I don't know.
I really don't know the answer to that question at all. I guess Irish people
I
always
could
ask
not tell
this
you.
question every year. They're like, "Why does it rain in spring?" Praying for
Why
good
does it
weather.
rain? It's the same. Coming from London is exactly it's the same. It rains all year, so we don't notice if it rains in the spring. We expect it to rain in the spring. If it doesn't, something is very, very wrong.
Very wrong, exactly.
So here we have a selection of different questions pre-made using question words and action. Okay. Okay, so I think just to round up the lesson, Carl and I will ask and answer just a few of these and then go back through the quasi method just to make sure that you all understand how to use it. So, Carl, talking about Hollywood and actors and actresses, who is your favorite movie star?
That's a very difficult question to answer. But I guess my
Is that because you
favorite
have
movie
many
star.
or not enough?
I mean, I just there's too many. There are too many options. I guess of all of them, my favorite is probably Brad Pitt.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. And how do you spell is Brad Pitt a he or a she? I am
he.
not familiar. Okay. How do you spell his name?
So his name is spelled Brad. That's his first name, Brad, and his surname, his second name, Pitt, Pitt.
Oh, did you know Brad Pitt actually has a brother?
No way.
Yes, his name is Arm.
Ah, very good. I like it. I like it.
But,
I'm gonna
but
write that one down. I'm gonna write
yes,
that one
okay.
down. I'm gonna write that one.
Okay. And do you know where he lives? Where does he live?
My God, I don't know where he lives. I think he lives in
You don't?
America. I think.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. And finally, what are his best movies?
Ooh, there are so many. Um, for me, his best movies are Troy, Ocean's 11, and the new Quentin Tarantino movie that was released recently. Once Upon a Time in
Once
Hollywood.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. And notice again, just for anyone who might be questioning or wondering,
Mhm.
even though there is definitive selection of films that Brad Pitt has been in, we still use the question word what rather than which, because there is no choice here. I'm asking for Carl's information about Carl's choice, about Carl's preference. I'm
Mhm.
not giving him the options to choose from. Use the question word what. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay. Well, I want you to answer this question. Which actor is better, Tom Cruise or Johnny Depp?
See, I have to say Johnny Depp because I am more familiar with his work. But
Oh.
probably Tom Cruise, I can appreciate that Tom Cruise is a very diverse actor. He plays many different characters. I saw him in Tropic Thunder, and it was very, I respected this performance. I did not
My
know
God.
that was him.
Yeah.
It was something really very special. Okay,
Yeah.
so then just to wrap up the lesson, that everybody involved, here looking at this selection of questions, we can see that they all follow the quasi method. So that is question word first, what, when, where, why, how, and how often. Auxiliary verb, and if we verb present, we have the auxiliary verb. If we are asking questions with the verb to be, we have to be, who is or how do. Then we have act, so the A, and finally the main verb, so spell, live. And again, that is only if you are making questions using a verb to be.
Mhm.
So the quasi method we can use for present simple or past simple questions. And don't forget, when we are speaking about the third person singular, we conjugate the does rather than do.
Yeah.
Okay. And Carl, do you just want to quickly go over the differences in the question words and then we will finish?
Absolutely. So we have a number of different question words in English. Let's start off with who. Who is for a person or people, right? Depending if it's plural or singular. What is for things. Where is for places, situations. When is for time. Why is for the reason. Which is for when you have a choice. How, the condition, or as we said, the manner. And how often, finally, for frequency.
Okay, excellent. So I hope you have great evenings and weeks, everybody. I hope you also find it very easy now to ask questions in the present or past simple tenses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it was a pleasure, and we will see you next webinar.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye bye.